So up next we have Diana Pengester of solar1.org with a whopping 27 slides. I hope you're going to tell me what to do.
Sorry, I'll talk fast. So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Diana Pengester. I am the NYSERDA representative for Manhattan and Staten Island. Next slide. So a lot of people give me this question, so I just want to clarify how Solar One is interconnected with NYSERDA. The way NYSERDA works, NYSERDA is the New York State Energy Research Development Authority. NYSERDA has a lot of different contractors to implement its programs. So the program that Solar One implements is called the Energy Smart Communities Program, which is basically NYSERDA's outreach and economic development arm for the downstate region, which is Manhattan and Staten Island. And as the coordinator, I'm the person that's basically in charge of that. So for those of you who are not familiar with NYSERDA, again, is the New York State Energy Research Development Authority. What we do is we promote energy efficiency and alternative energies. So if any building owner, business owner, homeowner, industrial manufacturing company is interested in understanding what energy efficiency incentives and alternative energy incentives are available to them, we're probably the first place that they go to because we deliver the bulk of the incentives for New York State. How you are eligible for NYSERDA incentives is if you pay into something called the SBC charge. The SBC charge is the system's benefits charge. So if you pay into any of the utilities that are listed, Con Ed, National Grid, a couple others in upstate New York, then you would be eligible for the programs. So for New York City, if you live out in Long Island or you have a building on Long Island, you're not eligible just because you pay into the Long Island Power Authority. Also, the City of New York is not eligible for any of our programs because they pay into the New York Power Authority, but everyone else is pretty good. A little bit about NYSERDA. We have our headquarters office in Albany, but there is a New York City office. Our offices are in Midtown. There's a couple other funding and initiatives going on that are putting more money into the bucket for NYSERDA's programs. As you're all aware, the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act that was passed in I believe in January, that's added a lot of money into the pots that's going to be dispersed mainly in the residential programs, but also fast-tracking a couple of other programs. Plan NYC, if you guys have been keeping abreast with the news, there's legislation going through the council on annual benchmarking, 7-year energy audits, and these are all for buildings that are 50,000 square feet up. So if that passes through the council, this is going to be something that's going to have us gear up pretty quickly. And a couple of other initiatives, including the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative and the Energy Efficiency Portfolio Standards, which is basically New York State's reducing emissions 15% by 2015. So a lot of money is going into the state authority to deliver these energy efficiency programs to help building owners and homeowners reduce their energy use. And the reason why it's important, climate change, energy prices are going up, there's more money being put into the pot, and it's just really good for your building in general. While NYSERDA has a plethora of different programs, anything spanning from green-collar job training centers to contractor recruitments, to programs that are just for buildings. What I'm going to be focusing on today is just the programs for buildings, specifically the ones for existing commercial buildings, new commercial buildings, as well as multi-family buildings. And then I'll also go over our financing, which is the Energy Smart Loan and the photovoltaic incentives. But just to get a little bit of information of who's in the audience, how many people here work with commercial buildings? And then residential multi-family buildings? Okay, are there any engineers or contractors in the room? Okay, all right. So to give you a bare bones of how NYSERDA's programs work, while not all of our programs follow this structure, the main structure that we're trying to imbibe is that you do a whole building approach. So getting that energy audit done and then paying you, or getting that recommendation report, which will list what are the most cost-effective things you could do, and then actually doing the installation of the measures, because we're paying you the incentive money not just to get the energy audit, but to actually install and actually do the reduction of your energy use. So that's the basic program structure. Next slide. So I'll just go through the programs one by one. The first one is an energy audit program. That's basically a program for facilities that have under $75,000 in annual electricity bills. So this is mainly for nonprofits, small businesses, it could be for restaurants, bodegas. If you have a mixed-use building, you could also use this for your commercial space. But then you would also probably have to use something that's the multifamily performance program, which is for multifamily buildings, just because there's that, not all the bills are paid through the facility owner, the commercial facility owner. NYSERDA for larger commercial facilities has 2 energy audit programs. One of them is Flex Tech, which is in this slide. The next one is the technical assistance, which is in the next slide. But those 2 energy audits are for commercial existing facilities that aren't eligible for the energy audit program. And the way it works is that NYSERDA will cost share 50% of the energy audit. So if you have an energy audit in your facility done, we'll pay for 50% of that cost, up to, I believe it's $1 million for Con Edison territory, which is New York City. So that means that you could get a technical assistance study that costs $2 million, we'll pay for half of it. The technical assistance, just to let you know, you don't have to use a NYSERDA partner. For FlexTech, you have to use a NYSERDA partner, and that's also available if you need just more hand-holding. For technical assistance, that's where you don't need to use a NYSERDA partner. You could use any engineering firm that you want, but we'll basically pay the same amounts for both. The existing facilities program is also for commercial facilities. It's broken down into 2 types of incentives. The first one is a pre-qualified incentives, which is basically acting like a rebate check, where you purchase a piece of equipment and we'll give you a certain amount back depending on what it is that you purchase. To find out what's on that pre-qualified list, you would just go on our website, but it could pay for things like chillers, HVAC equipment, commercial refrigeration equipment, lighting equipment. So that's a very simple thing where you don't need to get an energy audit done. If you know that you're purchasing something for your building and you want to see if it makes it on that list, and if it does, NYSERDA will just give you that check back with the receipts that you send us. For buildings that actually want to achieve a greater incentive, there's something called a performance-based incentives, and that could be demand response, that could be cogeneration, that could be electricity demand or electricity reduction or gas reduction, and we'll basically pay you an amount for each kilowatt hour that you reduce or each therm that you reduce. So it's more of a design-focused type of incentive. So that covered the commercial existing facilities part. Next we're going